Hello friends and welcome back to another video. So yesterday we got the season 15 official story trailer and the first 12 episodes of the season, as all of you know. And I first made a video about the trailer, but then I deleted it because it's very irrelevant, because we literally got all the episodes from the first half of the season. So yeah, the trailer doesn't really matter anymore, and yeah, it gets really overshadowed. So today I'm going to review all the 12 episodes. I'm going to review them individually, and instead of making like an individual video about each episode, I decided to make one video covering all 12 episodes individually. How this works is I'm going to give my brief opinion about the episode. I'm not going to have like a pro section and a con section for each separate episode. No, I'm going to give my overall opinion on each episode, like I said, and a rating out of 10. So yeah, let's get started with episode 1, Farewell the Sea. This episode, I think it was the invitation, but terribly rushed. I like that moment with Lloyd when he was cleaning the windows, but everything else was just a downgraded version of the invitation. Jay and Lloyd got convinced way too easily to rejoin the team. They had an entire year like grieving about Nia, and they were thinking about the situation every single day. And they only realized the fact that Nia would want them to keep fighting now. Like, it took them this whole time to... I don't know why they suddenly realized that now. I don't know what happened. Like, it's very easy thing to guess. So yeah, that's very, very bad writing in my opinion. And the new Ninja team, I think their idea was very good, but they feel slightly annoying and cringy in this episode, like that whole generic heroic lines of wherever there's evil there's us, or wherever that was. Yeah, I really don't like that. Miss Demeanor, she was fine, but yeah, it was few of her lines and her voice acting isn't really the best. But yeah, I love the whole Vengestone thing, and yeah, it feels very mysterious. Even that moment with Cole and Wu when they were talking about it, yeah, that was very mysterious, and I like the Vengestone stuff is by far the best thing about this episode, and yeah, I like it a lot. The mayor was very good. In this episode, at least, like, he wasn't portrayed as the most stereotypical, annoying mayor ever. And the ninjas' reactions, like I said, I think they weren't done in the best way possible. They were the invitation, but way worse in my opinion, because the episode length is just not really helping. I know they could have divided this into 2 episodes, because this season has 30 episodes, but they didn't do that for some reason. So overall, I think this was a decent episode. I wouldn't say it was great or anything, because I feel like it suffers from severe pacing issues and even severe writing issues. But the Vengestone stuff and its whole mystery really carried it, and the new ninja team idea was very good. Cole and Zane were good. That scene with Lloyd was also good. So yeah, this episode has good stuff, but at the same time it feels very rushed with really weird pacing. So yeah, overall I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 as one of my least or my top 5 worst Ninjago premieres of all time. So yeah, now let's talk about episode 2, The Call of the Home. This episode is very, very disappointing in my opinion. Nia's comeback was terrifyingly rushed. It was unbelievable. Like, this is literally the second episode after her sacrifice in season 14, and we already had a conclusion to her story. This is awful writing. I expected the story to be concluded like maybe even in one of the last episodes of the season, and we are only in the second episode when we already got a conclusion. And the conclusion was terribly rushed. She only looked at this lantern and suddenly remembered everything. I mean, it was an entire year, like I said, and it only took you to look at a lantern to remember yourself. Like, this story was the most hyped up thing about the entire season. It literally got concluded in 5 minutes. Literally 5 minutes, maybe even less. That's just crazy in my opinion. Like, I don't know what the writers were thinking about, but yeah, that's how we got this story concluded. Like, that's a huge disappointment. Maybe one of the biggest disappointments in the entire show, I'd say. So yeah, I mean, and also Nia, I'd say she was okay. Not really the greatest thing ever. The way she talks, like I said, isn't really, like I said about Miss Demeanor, the voice acting is kind of off. But yeah, I still like the idea that they included Nia in here. That was a clever writing choice. However, I feel like the dialogue was a bit repetitive. And yeah, like I said, there's terrible pacing issues and writing issues. But yeah, overall, very disappointing episode. Like, yeah, I expected way more from Nia's story, and this episode just disappoints a lot. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a 5.5 out of 10. Now, episode 3, and this is pretty much the best episode of the season so far. The Kai vs Jay stuff was very cool at the beginning. I like that there's conflict in the ninja team, and there's arguments between them because they don't really understand how each one is griefing over the same thing. And the fight started out really well, like when Jay kicked Kai. I wish that it continued for a bit longer. And Nia's appearance was just very sudden. I like the idea of how she appeared, but the moment where she appeared, it was way too sudden in my opinion. It should have happened in another time. And this is another pacing problem with the season. Like, so far, this season suffers from really bad pacing problems. The tunnel stuff was pretty good. And the new ninja, I feel like they became way better in this episode compared to episode 1, because we saw them talking normally, not like having those generic cringy lines really. But yeah, I'd say this was a decent or a good episode. No, not really a lot of problems I have with this one. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Episode 4. With the moment where the ninja talked about freeing Asphira from the prison, then Wu was like, no, I don't think you should do that. Then he left. And the ninja literally continued talking like nothing happened. This is your mentor, and he told you not to do something and then left. And you didn't even say a single thing, but you just continued talking like nothing just happened, which is, yeah, a lot of very weird writing choices in this season. The Asphira breakout was a lot of fun. And yeah, the action in this episode, even with Cole and Jay, was pretty cool, like exciting stuff to watch. And Skylar's appearance. I feel like the only reason why they brought back Skylar in this season is fan service. Like, I feel like that's literally the only reason, because she doesn't do anything. Even the whole her freezing the statue of Nia, they could have done that with, like they did with freezers or anything like that. They don't really need Skylar for that. So overall, I think this is in the same level of episode 3. And yeah, alongside that episode, the best of the season so far. So yeah, I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10. Then we have episode 5. Another problem is how the season is portraying the ninja. They are portraying the ninja to be very stupid for some reason. Like in the heist where Kai called Zane by his name. I mean, I know they needed a reason to reveal their identities, but this is probably the worst way possible. I hate how they portrayed Kai to be very stupid, because I know that Kai wouldn't do something like that, and this is very out of character. So yeah, the heist stuff was very fun to watch. The fight between the new ninja and the old ninja was really cool, with how the old ninja trying to reach the staff and the other ninja preventing them. But yeah, still, I think this was a decent episode, a bit weaker than the last two in my opinion, but yeah, still a 7 out of 10. The ninja getting arrested scene, I admit it was pretty good, like how they didn't really care about getting arrested, but because they were happy that Nia came back. And I thought that it was totally worth it, because yeah, they are going to prison, and as a result saving their friend. And Lloyd freeing Asphira because he keeps his words. Yeah, I also really like that. It's a nice parallel, and even Asphira was like, why are you doing this? I'm the worst person in the world and keeping my words. I feel even the writer himself like made that as a meme, because he knows how much people are memeing Asphira over the whole revenge thing, so he was like, yeah, let's make it even a bigger meme. So yeah, that's kind of weird, but yeah, whatever, it's not a big problem. So yeah, overall, this episode, nothing really big happens, but yeah, I think slightly worse than the last two. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Then episode 7, probably my favorite of the season so far, because of the second half. I really like that scene where the masked figure comes and he talks to Lloyd. And yeah, that was very cool, a very cool scene. And how Lloyd was like, I'm expecting you, then he saw this weird person, and then he chased him. Like, the chase scene of him chasing the masked figure and the guards trying to stop him, that was probably one of my favorite action scenes in all of Wild Brim, probably even all of Ninjago. Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. It was very fast-paced, very exciting, yeah, very amazing fight scene, and definitely helps this episode a lot. And the first half, yeah, a big disappointment. I'm very disappointed by the core stuff. It was probably my most anticipated factor of the season. Then it literally got 1 minute only. Yeah, that's very disappointing in my opinion. And like I said, this season has a ton of really amazing ideas, but it just doesn't give any idea with the time that it deserves. The core stuff could have been really great, and even Darth's speech of how the ninja saved the ninja, like, it started out really good, but ended too quickly. I feel like if his speech was longer, that could have been really impactful. That's really all for this episode. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Episode 8. The ninja can escape the prison very, very easily, but they don't. They were literally not even trying to escape this time. They were just chasing Pythor, but they don't escape for some reason. I know that they say that they want to get out legally with Dareth's help, but still, why do you want to do that? Like in Skybound, when they had Natakan, they wanted to get out at any price. They didn't care if it was legally, illegally. But here they have the same problem with the Crystal King. They need to figure out who the Crystal King is, but they don't care. They just want, oh, let's get out legally, like whenever you do. But this is just dumb. You need to get out as soon as possible to figure out who the Crystal King is and all that stuff. The same thing that happened in Skybound, really. I don't know why they are acting differently this time. It's kind of weird. Also, I didn't point this out in the last episode, but having Dareth as their lawyer, weird writing choice. Also, in this episode, we get to see Pythor finally. And Pythor continues to be Pythor, like he's the same Pythor we all know and love. I like his stuff. The invitation scene was pretty cool. The frustrating last few minutes of this episode kind of dropped it a bit, so I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Next up, we have episode 9, Fugidove. Why does this character even exist? Oh man, he killed the episode for me. He was so cringy. He really ruined it for me. All of his lines, all of his appearance, just why? Why does he exist? He's wasting time and energy and everything. Yeah, yeah, I really wish he wasn't in the season, or I wish he didn't even exist at all. Like, yeah, another stupid writing choice in this season. They never end. The ninja have the most futuristically advanced vehicles ever, the strongest vehicles ever. And for such an important mission like breaking the ninja out, they used this rusty van. I know that they didn't want to raise suspicions with the police, but they could have easily used any other normal car that doesn't raise suspicions with the police and break the ninja out without having any problems with the car. Yeah, but we had to have this huge plot convenient tool that the van stops working suddenly for no reason, and the ninja have to continue walking on foot. Yeah, overall, probably my least favorite episode of the season so far, or maybe second least favorite to episode 2. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 nonetheless. Episode 10, probably the most hated episode of the season so far. And yeah, I admit the new girl is very stereotypical and annoying. Yeah, every appearance of this girl is just very annoying. Yeah, her story just wastes time, in my opinion. It didn't really need to exist. And the lesson that Zanes learns from her should have been learned from the Nia stuff, but didn't happen for some reason. Even this sheriff guy is very stereotypical. Like, his first line is literally a stereotype, like how he says something, then he explains it. So yeah, for this episode, 5.5 out of 10. So yeah, now episode 11. I have a huge problem with every single episode, and the problem is that all of these problems could have been easily avoided by the writers if they used logic. In this episode, the ninja go to Twitchy Tim, and this guy literally forgets everything you tell him in 2 seconds. Why would you want to hide in this guy's place if you're a fugitive? It doesn't make any sense. And what I thought literally happened, he literally sold them out in 2 seconds to the police because he forgot what they just told him. That's just absolutely stupid. And the fugitive sacrifice was very out of the blue and made no sense at all. I don't know why that even happened, but I don't even care because I hate fugitive. And the ninja escape, yeah, whatever. Yeah, another whatever episode, 6 out of 10. Then we have episode 12, which was, I gotta admit, this is where the season starts getting really good. The mechanic stuff was very good. The train sequence was also very good. And also the light stuff was very good, like finally good or a clever writing choice with this season. But still, even with the best thing about the season so far, I still have a problem with it. How did they know that the mechanic will be the next person to receive an invitation? Like, there's countless other villains in his level, or maybe even better than him, who could have received an invitation. But they just guess that it's the mechanic, and somehow their guess turns out to be right. The council scene with the Mr. F, I really admire Mr. F. I love that idea. Yeah, he's the new model of Mr. E, and yeah, that's just amazing. I love Mr. F. There's an imposter among us. Yeah, that was an amazing line. And then we have the masked guy reveal. By far the best scene in the entire season. I'm going to say it's the best scene in all of Wildbrand. I don't love the reveal itself. I don't love the idea of it being Harumi as much as I love the scene itself. The scene is just so clever, and the way of revealing her as with her famous song of Spider and all that stuff. Yeah, it's very clever. Yeah, like I said, Harumi died and her story ended years ago. I don't know why they are trying to continue it. And if this season is going to make her evil, really evil, yeah, then that's a huge writing crime in my opinion. Yeah, I'm very worried about how they are going to execute Harumi this season. So yeah, this is by far the best episode so far. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. So yeah, that's really all for this. That's my review for all 12 episodes. The season so far, I'm not really a huge fan of it. Like, my main problem with it is the pacing. I'm so worried about the pacing. Every single good idea, the prison, the court, the new ninja, yeah, the heist, all that stuff got way less time than it should have gotten. Like I said, it has a lot, countless writing mistakes and plot holes. I don't know if they are necessarily plot holes, but yeah, writing mistakes and non-writing choices. Yeah, and also very bad characters. Yeah, so far I'm not really satisfied with the season, but watching episode 12, which is by far the best episode of the ones we got so far. Yeah, watching that episode, I'm very optimistic with what we are going to get next. And hopefully the second half really saves this season and makes it at least the best Wild Brain season. So yeah, so far I'm going to give this season, the first half of the season, or at least the first 12 episodes, is 7 out of 10. So yeah, that's really all for today's video. Probably one of the longest videos on my channel, but yeah, really worth it. So yeah, don't forget to tell me in the comments what you think of this video and what do you think of Crystalized so far. So yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with friends, and I'll see you next time.